Hello everyone, I'm Brazen Eagle and thank you for joining me here. So, as I'm sure you are aware of, YouTube has decided to finally bring its ban hammer to people that it doesn't like. So today, we're going to go over the actual official YouTube blog regarding the new policy of forced equality and selective censorship. So, according to them, taking a harder look at harassment from Wednesday, June 5th, 2019. There have been a lot of questions over the last few days about our policies on harassment, particularly around two YouTube creators, Carlos Maza and Steven Crowder. These are important issues, and we'd like to provide more details and context than is possible in any one string of tweets. Since YouTube started 14 years ago, we have focused on providing a platform where anyone can broadcast themselves, connect with people, and share their voices and their experiences with the world. This has brought a lot of good, like Julesy, who founded the Pound Smart Brown Girl movement to empower women of color, or MadPat, a gaming creator who, along with his fans and other creators, raised over $200,000 to combat mental illness. Before I continue on, when you use hashtag or Pound Smart Brown Girl movement, that makes it sound like brown girls are inherently not smart. Anyways, but it has also created many challenges. One of the most important issues we face is around harassment. We enforce our policies here rigorously and regardless of the creator in question. In the first quarter of 2019, we removed tens of thousands of videos and accounts for violation of our policies on cyberbullying and harassment. Cyberbullying is a joke. We also removed hundreds of millions of comments, many of which were flagged and removed due to harassment. That said, policies need to keep up with current problems. I guess, for them, modern problems require modern solutions. One particular challenge we face more and more these days is creator-on-creator harassment. It is an issue that Susan addressed in her latest creator letter. We update our policies on an ongoing basis to make sure they stay current. Just today, we took another step in our fight against hate speech and our responsibility to reduce the harmful borderline content. As mentioned, one of our upcoming projects will re-examine our harassment policy as well. As an open platform, well, you're not really open anymore, we sometimes host opinions and views that many, ourselves included, may find offensive. These include edgy stand-up comedy routines, a chart-topping song, or a charged political rant, and more. Short movements from these videos spliced together paint a troubling picture, but individually, they don't always cross the line. There are two key policies here at play, and this paragraph is very important: harassment and hate speech. For harassment, we look at whether the purpose of the video is to incite hate, harassment, threaten or humiliate an individual, or whether personal information is revealed, such as when you dox someone. We consider the entire video. For example, is it a 2-minute video dedicated to going after an individual? A 30-minute video of political speech where different individuals are called out a handful of times? Is it focused on a public or private figure? For hate speech, we look at whether the primary purpose of the video is to incite hatred toward or promote supremacy over a protected group, or whether it seeks to incite violence. To be clear, using racial, homophobic, or sexist epithets on their own would not necessarily violate either of these policies. For example, as noted above, lewd or offensive language is often used in songs or comedic routines. It's when the primary purpose of the video is hate or harassment. And when videos violate these policies, we remove them. Not everyone will agree with the calls we make. Some will say we haven't done enough, others will say we've gone too far. And sometimes, a decision to leave an offensive video on the site will look like us defending people who have used their platforms and audiences to bully, demean, marginalize, or ignore others. If we were to take all potentially offensive content down, we'd be losing valuable speech that allows people everywhere to raise their voices, tell their stories, question those in power like in YouTube and Google, and participate in the critical culture and political conversations of our day. I will be returning to this paragraph as well as a few of the ones above. Even if a creator's content does not violate our community guidelines, we will take a look at the broader context and impact, and if their behavior is egregious and harms the broader community, we may take action. Well, obviously they already have. In the case of Crowder's channel, a thorough review over the weekend found that individually, the flagged videos did not violate our community guidelines. However, in the subsequent days, we saw the widespread harm to the YouTube community resulting from the ongoing pattern of egregious behavior, took a deeper look, and made the decision to suspend monetization because some guy got his feelings hurt. In order to be considered for reinstatement, all relevant issues with the channel need to be addressed, including any videos that violate our policies, as well as things like offensive merchandise, so anything we don't like. In the coming months, we will be taking a hard look at our harassment policies with an aim to update them, just as we have to so many policies over the years in consultation with experts, creators, journalists, and those who have themselves been victims of harassment. We are determined to evolve our policies and continue to hold our creators and ourselves to a higher standard. Well, it's definitely a different standard. Maybe not higher, but it's definitely a different standard. Anyways, that was just part 1 of the official blog post on June 5th. Obviously, we have another one here as well, which I will read. Our ongoing work to tackle hate. Over the past few years, we've been investigating the policies, resources, and products needed to live up to our responsibility and protect the YouTube community from harmful content. This work has focused on 4 pillars: removing violative content, raising up authoritative content, reducing the spread of borderline content, and rewarding trusted, approved creators. Thanks to these investments, videos that violate our policies are removed faster than ever, and users are seeing less borderline content and harmful misinformation. As we do this, we're partnering closely with lawmakers and civil society around the globe to spread the limit of violent extremist content online. I'm coming back to this paragraph as well, because who YouTube partners with is corrupt. We review our policies on an ongoing basis to make sure we are drawing the line in the right place. In 2018 alone, we made more than 30 policy updates. One of the most complex and constantly evolving areas we deal with is hate speech, or what we think is hate speech. We've been taking a close look at our approach towards hateful content in consultation with dozens of experts, experts, in subjects like violent extremism, supremacism, civil rights, and free speech. Based on these learnings, we are making several updates. Demonetize everyone we don't agree with, or removing more hateful and supremacist content from YouTube. YouTube has always had rules of the road, including a long-standing policy against hate speech. In 2017, we introduced a tougher stance towards videos with supremacist content, including limiting recommendations and features like comments and the ability to share the video. This step dramatically reduced views to these videos, on average 80%. Today, we're taking another step in our hate speech policy by specifically prohibiting videos alleging that a group is superior in order to justify discrimination, segregation, exclusion based on qualities like age, gender, race, caste, religion, sexual orientation, or veteran status, which is something weird to add in veteran status. However, this would include, for example, videos that promote or glorify Nazi ideology, which is inherently discriminatory. Well, that's not the only ideology that is inherently discriminatory, which I will come back to as well. Finally, we will remove content denying that well-documented violent events like the Holocaust or the shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary took place. We recognize some of this content has value to researchers and NGOs looking to understand hate in order to combat it, and we are exploring opportunities to make it available to them in the future. And as always, context matters, so some videos could remain up because they discuss topics like pending legislation, aim to condemn or expose hate, or provide analysis of current events. We will begin enforcing this updated policy today, which was June 5th. However, it will take time for our systems to fully ramp up, and will be gradually expanding coverage over the next several months. Very good. Reducing borderline content and raising up authoritative voices. In addition to removing videos that violate our policies, we also want to reduce the spread of content that comes up right to the line. In January 2019, we piloted an update of our systems in the US to limit recommendations of borderline content and harmful misinformation, such as videos promoting a phony miracle cure for a serious illness or claiming that the earth is flat. We're looking to bring this updated system to more countries by the end of 2019. Thanks to this change, the number of views this type of content gets from recommendations has dropped by over 50% in the US. Our systems are also getting smarter about what types of videos should get this treatment, and we'll be able to apply it to even more borderline videos coming forward. As we do this, we'll also start raising up more authoritative content in recommendations, building on the changes we made to news last year. For example, if a user is watching a video that comes close to violating our policies, our systems may include more videos from authoritative sources like top news channels in the Watch Next panel. Continuing to reward trusted creators and enforce our monetization policies with people that we deem ideologically and politically connected to us. Finally, it's critical that our monetization systems reward approved, trusted creators who do no wrong, who add value to YouTube. Who add value, I see. We have long-standing advertiser-friendly guidelines that prohibit ads from running on videos that include hateful content, and we enforce these rigorously. And in order to protect our ecosystem of creators, advertisers, and viewers, we tightened our advertising criteria in 2017, and I definitely felt that. In the case of hate speech, We are strengthening enforcement of our existing YouTube Partner Program policies. Channels that repeatedly brush up against our hate speech policies will be suspended from the YouTube Partner Program, meaning they can't run ads on their channel or use other monetization features like Super Chat. The openness... What? The openness? Pfft. I'm coming back to this paragraph anyways later. The openness of YouTube's platform has helped creativity and access to information thrive. Well, you're no longer open. Anyways, it's our responsibility to protect that and prevent our platform from being used to incite hatred, harassment, discrimination, and violence. We are committed to taking the steps needed to live up to this responsibility today, tomorrow, and in the years to come before YouTube crashes and burns. From the YouTube team. Anyways, so this is going to be a long video. Anyways, so regardless of your position, political position, any position that you want to sit in, this is a form of censorship. Now, I'm not saying censorship is necessarily a bad thing. Obviously, you shouldn't be posting things like porn on YouTube. But YouTube has finally decided that it can come out of the authoritative closet and forced people to decide whether they want to support a company that will get rid of you or demonetize you because they don't like what you have to say, or choose an alternative channel or alternative website like BitChute, which I already have an account on. YouTube did this update in part to police harassment and hate speech. Let's go back to where they started talking about harassment in depth. For harassment, they claim that they will look into whether or not a video was created to incite harassment, threaten or humiliate an individual, or basically dox someone. For hate speech, YouTube claims that if the primary purpose of the video is to incite hatred toward or promote supremacism over a protected group, that's important, protected group, then the channel will get hit with a strike or taken down despite evidence that one group might be doing things better than another or achieving more than another group. Protected groups, of course, are any groups that conform to YouTube's ideology or a group that doesn't have, basically, straight white males as a majority. They want to elevate supposed minorities, supposed oppressed peoples, like women, gays, Hispanics, and more, of course, over the supposed group majority, also known as straight white males, and their supporters. By doing this, they are putting these fake, oppressed, protected groups above your average white guy in the Western world, despite straight white men being a minority in pretty much every single nation in the world. There are probably a few nations in the world where males who are straight, who are white, might be the majority. But in most countries, especially in 2019, if you're a straight white male, you're probably a minority at this point. Remember, everyone, equality for everyone, but more equality for us. Anyways, within this blog post, YouTube claims that if we were to take all potentially offensive content down, we'd be losing valuable speech. Speech that allows people everywhere to raise their voices, tell their stories, where was it? Question those in power and participate in the critical culture and political conversations of our day up here. Well, they're absolutely right. They're being completely honest here. YouTube is. They will not take down all potentially offensive content. They will allow the content that they agree with and attempt to silence ideas of which they do not agree. YouTube will be eventually an echo chamber of hard leftist beliefs and degeneracy when it comes to content. They're going to strike down everyone they disagree with and leave up things that they generally agree with or are close to what they agree with. And by they, of course, I mean YouTube. The blog continues in stating that while Steven Crowder's individual videos are okay, and they did not violate the YouTube community guidelines, they felt that there was widespread harm that was happening to YouTube or the YouTube community. That's a complete lie. Carlos Maza was a person that was engaged or was the butt of jokes with Steven Crowder and various social media spats, apparently. I don't follow Steven Crowder. I don't follow, honestly, anyone that has been really affected by this, but regardless of that, if you don't know though, Carlos Maza is a flamboyant, homosexual Latino that got his feelings hurt by Steve Crowder, and complained to YouTube, which resulted in this massive YouTube exodus. One person's feelings got hurt who was in a protected group, double protected group because he's gay, he's openly gay, and a Latino, openly Latino, he has double protected group status. His feelings got hurt, which was a catalyst for this crackdown and demonetization of many, many channels and videos. YouTube, of course, later goes on by stating that it is trying to remove violative content, raising up authoritative content, reducing the spread of borderline content, and rewarding trusted creators. YouTube is removing basically whatever it does not like. And you know what? So be it. Even though I would consider this part of the public square, so be it. However, YouTube continues with, we're partnering closely with lawmakers and civil society around the globe to limit the spread of violent extremist content online. Do you know who helps police content on YouTube? This group. The SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center. This group literally labels anything remotely right-wing or conservative as a hate group or containing a hateful message. YouTube will only reward people or trusted creators that will generally agree with them on their far left-wing ideology. And if you want proof, I have both this page as well as the official YouTube blog links down in the description below. The SPLC has labeled pedestrian conservative groups as hate groups in the past. You cannot trust the SPLC. Now, YouTube is taking another step in our hate speech policy by specifically prohibiting videos alleging that a group is superior in order to justify discrimination, segregation, or exclusion based on qualities like age, gender, not sex, no, gender, race, caste, religion, sexual orientation, or veteran status. Huh, that's interesting. This is an incredibly loaded sentence. YouTube is trying to silence obvious differences between individuals and groups in order to promote that everyone and everything is equal. There shall be no difference between anyone or anything, despite nature showing us that equality does not exist no matter how much you want it. No two men nor two women are equal nor the same. Even same-race twins are different from each other despite being biologically similar. No matter what YouTube wants to do, forcing equality by silencing the truth will result in the loss of innovators, content creators, and an informed and educated populace. Also, I did want to bring up, veteran status is quite an odd choice of a phrase or words. I assume that they mean people who have been doing things for a while, that have been, there for a couple years, promoting, doing content and stuff like that, instead of actual military veterans. But regardless, YouTube attempts to justify their decision by bringing up people who may promote or glorify Nazi ideology, which is inherently discriminatory. What if you replace the word Nazi with the word, communist? There are people around the world who promote and glorify communists. We have people like that in the United States, probably in Japan, probably not a huge number in Japan, but you'll find people glorifying communists in Russia, probably the Ukraine. Communists, they're also absolutely discriminatory against the bourgeoisie, or, also known as people who have some sort of wealth. Communists are people who discriminate. Would tankies or other communist glorifiers get the boot from YouTube? Probably not. Even people that want to promote ideas that are borderline to YouTube are being suppressed. They want to limit the voice of people that claim some edgy or controversial views, such as claiming the earth is flat. Well, I personally don't believe that the earth is like a pancake. Why would YouTube actively seek out other videos to recommend to flat earth viewers that the earth is indeed a type of sphere? It is because YouTube wants to enforce their beliefs on other people. You better believe what I believe, or you're going to get the boot. That's what YouTube is saying. YouTube admits that they want to limit or demonetize creators that promote hateful content, but hateful content itself, those two words, is quite a loaded term that is, in my opinion, too bloated nowadays. It could mean actual hateful content, such as calling for the killings of millions of innocent people, or hateful content could be stating truths about people, such as calling Carlos Maza a gay Latino. He openly calls himself a gay Latino. Hateful content at this point, in 2019, means anything that sounds bad or doesn't align with our views. And finally, this final paragraph is just too good and ironic. The openness of YouTube's platform has helped creativity and access to information thrive. By claiming that they are open, which sounds nice, you would assume that YouTube allows for discussions and jokes to be allowed on the website. Openness sounds like YouTube would support the inclusion of all beliefs and thoughts, regardless of political position, to be discussed. However, they've just shown that they are only open to the beliefs that they themselves hold. They are inclusive only to the people that think like them. And this is why they have and are deleting channels and videos and demonetizing people of which they disagree. Through their twisted inclusion, exclusion becomes mandatory. And that's just one of the most important things you got to remember in 2019, in 2020, and 2021 until the next wave of this crazy, hard left-wing ideology grows. As it grows further into this next decade, into the 2020s, we're going to see more things like this. Through their twisted inclusion, exclusion becomes mandatory. And they say they want to get rid of videos that support segregation. They're just silencing other people just because of their beliefs or ideas. In my opinion, now YouTube is mostly dead. At least for true content creators, as well as anyone who wants healthy political discussions. Anyone who disagrees with YouTube and its masters will get the demonetization or ban hammer eventually. Now, it's quite unfortunate that this has had to happen, but you know what? This can only be two things. First of all, this will of course hurt YouTube in the long run, and second of all, this will help promote other alternative sites in which people just don't want to stay on YouTube, and will find other websites such as BitChute. Honestly, this has been an in-depth look at YouTube's most recent self-destructive update. If you want, of course, an alternative to YouTube, come to BitChute, where I'm already on, and a bunch of other people are making the transition to. I've heard you can go to another website called Gab or DLive, things of that nature. But regardless, YouTube has just made itself into an eventual echo chamber of hard left-wing thoughts and corporate messages. So, either way, I'm Brazen Eagle. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.